currently on 131 trillion naira. This is just an administration that is just about 18 months, 20 months or thereabout in office, 18 months or thereabout in office. And so there's a lot of concern as regards this borrowing spree, and the fact that the more borrowing we have, the more it would encourage or enable wasteful spending. All right, so there's just a lot of concern. But should we be concerned? Anyways, that's the question that we're looking at now. Of course, the president has tried to justify this new $2.2 billion borrowing, saying that the purpose is to finance the 2024 budget deficit as part of Nigeria's broader fiscal strategy, adding that the money will be raised through euro bonds and other external borrowing instruments. And it's a major concern for Professor Nwaleke, saying that borrowing on euro bonds, which is non-concessional and is very, very costly, it's very expensive. So more attention should rather be on sovereign sukuk, which are project tied, meaning that there's a particular project you want to finance. Let's borrow you money, finance that project. At the end of the project, then when you start whatever it is that you need to make from that project, you start paying the money back. So that is what Professor Nwaleke is looking at. But then acquiring new foreign debts to finance our budget, what are your thoughts? What are the concerns that you have? And also around wasteful spending, around wasteful spending, yes. What are your concerns around wasteful spending or failure to even deliver on developmental outcomes when we have huge deficit, when we have a huge borrowing debt profile as well? Don't forget that, all these loans are paid in dollars, and the more our naira devalues, the more this debts will keep rising and rising. Okay, we are currently at 1,700. Okay, and so if you're going to be borrowing $2.2 billion and you try to convert that to naira, and then you try to look at how much we have to pay back in naira, that's a lot of money. So how concerned should we be about our debt profile? How do we get out of this problem of debt? Because the truth, and the very unfortunate truth, is that we need to borrow to be able to finance our budget. There's nothing we can do. There's no way out of it, really, because that is just the uncomfortable truth. That's the unfortunate truth, that we just need to borrow. But then the more we borrow and the amounts that we borrow, what exactly do we use it for? Should we start asking questions around this? Okay, this proposed loan, 2.2 billion. That's the first one. The second one is, what do you think about this story? There's a story here that we're unable to take during trends in the papers. Presidency clarifies spokesman status, and it's on page 8 of Vanguard newspaper. So very, very quickly, what we have is Daniel Bwala had barely announced himself as the new presidential spokesman when Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, issued a statement saying there was no presidential spokesman. So Onanuga announced the redesignation of Bwala as special advisor on policy communication to the president. When he was, when he was appointed sometime last week or so, the announcement came in that he was going to be special advisor media and public communication, State House. That was the announcement that we got last week when Daniel Bwala was appointed. But now, Bayo Onanuga has announced a redesignation of Daniel Bwala as special advisor on policy communication to the president, a position that means the latest media team will now operate away from the presidential villa. That's what that's what Bayo Onanuga is trying to explain, and saying that on who will lead the president's information management team and all of that. There's a lot of back and forth now. Who is in charge of information from the president, or who is in charge of saying whatever it, or transmitting or disseminating information from the presidency to the people? that's where this back and forth is coming in from now. After a meeting of members of the media team at the office of the spokesman at the presidential villa, there was reluctance on the part of Boala to depart. It appeared he wanted to start using the office immediately. Incidentally, Onanuga, who moved into the office only recently, is at the G20 summit, and so it seemed Boala wanted to take it over in his absence. It says whatever it is that is going on amongst the media team of the president, what do you think? As regards the information management strategy of this administration, there was once upon a time that people were a little bit confused as regards what JᴏɪＲ Aᴊɪṕᴜ was supposed to be doing, what Bayo Onanuga was supposed to be doing, who exactly JᴏɪR Aᴊɪṕᴜ was special advisor on media and publicity, Bayo Onanuga was special advisor on information and strategy. There was no official spokesperson per se, spokesperson, per se, but then there was the back and forth as regards, information from JᴏɪR Aᴊɪṕᴜ sometimes, contradicts information from Bayo Onanuga. And now we have the fact that Daniel Boala is trying to fill that position of a spokesperson, but then Bayo Onanuga say no, there is no spokesperson in the presidency. But Daniel Boala is special advisor on policy communication to the president, and then we have Bayo Onanuga, special advisor on information and strategy. So what do you think about the information management strategy of this administration? I hope we're not going to be getting another Daniel Boala said something, Bayo Onanuga says something, and then somebody elsewhere from the State House is saying another thing, and then we'll now start having very interesting colorization of information management from the presidency. Very, very important. All right, so those are the focal points this morning. I will start with Fuhad, and let's just get this thing going.
All right, on the issue of debt profile, I think I like what the prof is suggesting. I think a lot of experts have also said that one of the ways to ensure accountability and probity with the monies we are borrowing is to tie them to a particular project, and also ensure that some of these borrowing institutions are the ones that help to run the project. So that we know that, look, for every monies we borrow, but if you look at this particular $2.2 billion, Sandra, we're still talking about financing the deficit of the 2024 budget. Whereas we're already concluding the fiscal year. We're already looking at another budget. So if we're not careful, the 2024 budget will also run into 2025. And for every time we have poor budget performance, the capital expenditure component of the budget is the one that suffers. Borrow, beg, or steal, Sandra, they will take care of the recurrent expenditure that allows for all manner of wasteful spendings and useless appropriation. So at the end of the day, we have a situation where Nigerians are groaning, Nigerians are suffering, subsidy is gone, things have become very tough. But nothing has changed on the part of the government. It's still a borrowing spree. We are still seeing consistent borrowing. The debt profile has ballooned out of control. Sandra, forget about all of the mechanical, quantitative analysis of debt to GDP that you keep hearing. What is the reality on ground is showing that we have a disturbing trend. We have now gotten to the point again where we are using borrowed monies to finance borrowed money, to repay borrowed loans. As a human being, when you get to the point where you are using basic to pay basic, you are in trouble. Because what it means is that the initial basic has not yielded anything, has not produced anything. So with the huge debt, and we are still going to have to borrow more, because what we are dealing with now is still about the 2024 budget. We have 13 trillion deficit already captured in the 2025 medium-term expenditure document, which will be in the budget. So again, we ask ourselves, what is the methodology, Gogo? Where are we going to? What is the approach of this particular government?
Don't forget Jimoh Ibrahim calling this 2.2 billion.
But I've tried to avoid Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim. He was on TV yesterday spewing all manner of things.
He called it lunch money.
He said the money is too small. That was what he said. It's lunch money. What he's saying is that we should go for the big money, like $50 billion.
For infrastructure development, yes.
Which infrastructure? Which infrastructure? All the monies we borrowed, where are the infrastructure? To justify what we borrowed so far. I will not go too much into Jimoh Ibrahim. Our people know him. Even his own personal debt profile, what has he been able to do to it? The businesses he has run in the past, where are those businesses today? But I don't know, there's no need to go into any personal, you can say whatever. And the unfortunate thing is that, look, these are the guys in the Senate that are supposed to check and recheck issues around budget and appropriation. And if you look at his advice, continue to borrow what was there. And like I said, they will come now to come and tell you that every other country in the world is borrowing. Yes, we know. And that our debt to GDP in quantitative terms allows us to still borrow more. But what of qualitative terms in terms of our budget